For more incredible action figures and collectibles, including the ones seen in this review, check out Lindsay's Toy Room at www.lindsays.toyroom.com. Hello YouTube, and welcome to Turmoil in the Toybox. I'm your host, Aaron Hauser, and today we're going to be reviewing the NECA Pacific Rim Series 3 Kaiju set. This includes the battle-damaged knife head and Trespasser. So I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely loved Pacific Rim, and the more I've watched it on Blu-ray since its release, the more I've fallen in love with the Jaegers and the Kaiju, and the entire design that Guillermo del Toro gave to that world. Now, as soon as I found out that NECA was going to do a Series 3 release, I immediately went to pre-order these guys from Lindsay's Toy Room because I was just blown away by the Series 1 and Series 2 releases. And these guys just bring up NECA's game to a whole new level. Not only do they have a complete revamp of the knife head design, but they also introduced a beautifully done take on Trespasser. And I'm really excited to show off sort of the individual details and the articulation that they put into this guy. You can tell a lot of love went into this line. So I picked these guys up from Lindsay's Toy Room at lindsays.toyroom.com for $50 for the set. And I'm really glad I did because I ended up getting these way before Toys R Us actually stocked them in our neighborhood. So they had them way before any of the other local stores seemed to be able to get a hold of them, so that was a major plus to me. But overall, these guys are just incredible, so let's get to the review. Let's start things off by taking a look at the battle-damaged version of Knifehead. Now, first off, like I said, this is a redesigned figure. Now, to give you an idea of exactly how this compares to the original release, here is the new battle-damaged Knifehead, and here's the original. The new version makes the old look like a Happy Meal toy. Now, this original figure I absolutely loved, so don't get me wrong, and this one's probably actually going to be a bit more rare since it was part of the original series release. Now, while it did have a bit more limited articulation to it, the detailing and everything was still phenomenal, and they did a great job with this figure, so don't think that I'm slamming the original release. However, just by size comparison alone, you can tell that this one was made almost as an afterthought compared to what we actually got with the redesigned Knifehead. So, looking at the redesigned Knifehead, we've got a whole bunch more articulation on this figure, which includes the feet, which have articulation in the ankles, in the knees, which not only flex, but they also rotate left and right. You have articulation in the hips on a ball joint, articulation in the waist on a ball joint. The tail still has that flexible sort of plastic to it. It feels like almost a metal frame inside so that you can get some specific flexibility with that. And then you've got articulation in the smaller arms here, and then articulation in the wrists on a ball joint there. You have articulation in the shoulders, a large array of articulation there, which is nice. Articulation in the elbows, which also rotates and flexes in and out. Articulation on the wrists, which is kind of on a ball joint. It doesn't have a whole lot of flexibility there, but enough to rotate and then sort of go side to side and up and down a little. The head now is actually on a ball joint. Once again, not a whole lot of articulation because of the way the sculpt is, but you can rotate it and kind of go up and down. And then you have that wonderful jaw articulation. So you can open it, close it. Great detailing in the mouth there and around the tongue and the eyes and everything. And then, of course, the newer edition, you have the blue blood from all the different wounds across Knifehead's snout there, around the eye, around the neck, the side, giving it that Kaiju blue look that they talked about in the film. The back also has those horns that come off the side there. And then that sort of shell piece. And then, as with the first release, they did a great job on the detailing and the paint application. There's not a whole lot of bleeding. Everything is very sharp. They did a great job with those sort of glowing, the designs that run up and down the side of the Kaiju. Looks very, very cool. The detailing on the hands looks great. The claws look phenomenal. Love the way they did the arms on this one. There's just so much more detail with this guy as a bigger piece, so it's very cool to see how much attention to detail they put into this second version of Knifehead. So as you can see, compared to the first one, you've got shoulder articulation now, you've got elbow articulation that not only flexes up and down, but left and right, wrist articulation to the smaller arms, and then on the first one where you only had the knee articulation, now you have the ankle articulation, as well as the neck with a bit more flexibility there. So overall, this is a beautifully done piece, and I'm so excited that they were able to kind of reinvent this version of Knifehead. Now, if I saw correctly, I think that the 18-inch version of Knifehead that they're going to be releasing is actually based off of this articulation setup, not the previously released one. So hopefully we'll have a bit more articulation in the arms and everything, and if we're lucky, maybe some light-up features, so something cool to look out for. Next up, we've got Trespasser, also known as Axehead, and this is the first Kaiju to emerge from the breach in the film. So we are treated to very close-up glimpses of this Kaiju. You don't really get to see him in his entirety until much later in sort of flashback shots. So it's very cool that we finally get to see exactly what this Kaiju looks like in figure form. And NECA did a brilliant job with this one, just like they did with all of the others they've released so far. So, taking a closer look at the figure, has the same articulation that we've seen on the reintroduced Knifehead, with the shoulders, elbows, wrists, waist, hips, knees, on the ankles, the smaller arms, the smaller wrists, the head, which also has a bit more movement on this one, the jaw articulation, and then it also has that flexible tail, which is kind of nice for balancing the figure, since these ones don't actually have the peg holes for display stands. So size-wise, as you saw earlier, he is the exact same height as the reinvented Knifehead figure, and this one does not slack off on the details either. They did a great job with the head sculpt on this one. See if I can get a straight shot there, so you can see the eyes, the teeth, the tongue, everything look fantastic. They did such a great job with the coloring on this figure. The crest on the head looks great. Also, all the individual markings and stuff look really well done. There's no paint bleeding, nothing. Great definition, great detailing. I love the sculpt, all the different ridges and stuff on the legs. And the back is different on this one too. It's got a larger, thick crest on the back, and then it also has these horns that protrude out of the top of that sort of crest there. So, and then as I said, also he has the flexible tail, and that is shaped exactly like the Knifehead one. And the claws, which are more or less the same as the Knifehead version, they have sort of a different coloring and different sort of paint textures to this one, so it's not exactly the same. But overall, I was just absolutely blown away by this figure, and this is probably my new favorite Kaiju figure that NECA has released. I say a close second would probably be Leatherback, just because I love the design of that figure, and the way that they did the articulation on the claws and everything looked great. But overall, this is a very, very well done piece, and I might actually be picking up a second one of these just because I love this one so very much. But yeah, as you can see, this is just a massive figure. And putting it next to one of the other Jaegers, you can actually see exactly how big this guy is. So he is obviously a formidable opponent for Cherno Alpha here. But we'll get to Cherno Alpha later. This Kaiju, though, easily my favorite, though, from NECA. I think they did a great job with it, and I'm really excited to see how they do the other Kaiju that they have lined up to release with Series 4. So as you can see, this is an easy 5 out of 5 for NECA. This is some of their best work yet for the Pacific Rim line. And I'm so impressed at the fact that they reinvented the entire knife head sculpt just for this series. Normally, I was expecting them to do at least maybe a Kaiju Blue battle damage version of the original sculpt, but the fact that they went and actually fixed the entire scale of this figure really shows me that their attention to detail is some of the best in the industry. And I am just so excited to see what they do with that sort of drive for the future Pacific Rim series releases. And the same can be said for the Trespasser figure. I know we only got kind of a few brief glimpses of the character in the film, aside from some of the posters and stuff like that, but this is such a beautifully designed creature, and the fact that NECA breathed all of that life from Guillermo del Toro's vision into this piece just shows that NECA really has a passion for the source material, and that really shows in the final products here. So, like I said, these guys are available at Lindsay's Toy Room at lindsays.toyroom.com for $50 for the set, and I would really encourage you, if you are any sort of Kaiju or monster fan in general, these guys are definitely worth having in your collection. So I would go out and get a set as soon as possible before these guys sell out and become a collector's item like the rest of NECA's products over time. So that is about it for this review. If you have any questions about the figures, just leave them in the comments below, and feel free to check out some of my other reviews, including reviews on the Pacific Rim Series 1 and Series 2 set, as well as the 18-inch Gypsy Danger figure from NECA. So that's it. As always, thanks for watching.